Hi there, today we're going to talk about project time management.
Alexandra, what is project time management?
Project time management are processes required to manage timely completion of a project.
What are those processes?
Good question. These are planning schedule management, define activities, sequence activities, estimate activity resources, estimate activity durations, develop the schedule, and last, control the schedule. Remember the trip last month at the Huntly Power Station? I'm going to show you how it was planned using these processes. Firstly, I need a way to plan the trip, and because it was a small trip, I've chosen to plan it in this notebook. This is my schedule management plan, and as you can see, it is informal. Larger projects might have a more formal, highly detailed plan, depending on their needs, but for this trip, keeping things in this notebook is sufficient.
Miss, what do you write in that notebook?
Right. So, to have a good trip, firstly I need to identify what needs to be done and what specific actions are required to produce the trip deliverables. Here is our trip. We need to book a date and arrange a guide from plant. Also, we need transport. These are called deliverables.
But that can be it.
Indeed. So here are the actions. First we wanted to know when a tourish slot was available. Then we needed to select a date. For transport, we needed to shortlist transport providers, request quotations, and book a bus.
What next?
Next is sequencing. I knew I could inquire about plant availability and shortlist transport providers at the same time. After I had possible dates, I could ask for bus quotations, select a trip date, and book the bus.
Who's going to do all this?
Well, I was doing most of the work, but bus booking was always our principal's job, so here are the resources. We also knew from last year's trip that the bus would cost about $400, so here is that resource allocated.
I know what's next. We need to know how long it will take to complete the activities.
You're right. So, from last year's trip, we know that it will take the plant about a week to respond to our inquiry and about the same for the bus people. Now, the principal is always busy, so it will take him about 3 days to book the bus. I can use last year's trip to shortlist the bus providers, so that's 1 day, same for the plant booking.
That's it. It is all done, isn't it?
Not quite. Next is developing the schedule. It takes into account sequences, durations, resources, and constraints. For example, our principal was overseas prior to the trip, so he couldn't book the trip during that period. One of the techniques is critical path method. It is used to estimate the minimum project duration by first calculating the early start, early finish, late start, and late finish dates for all activities. Here are our earliest and latest times for each activity. These are not necessarily the project schedule. Rather, they indicate the time periods within each activity that could be executed. The critical path method is used to calculate the amount of scheduling flexibility on network paths.
Oh, finally, there is the plan.
Yes, it is. However, not all plans go as expected, so monitoring is necessary for delivering the project in time. For example, this year the plant did not provide PPE for visitors, so we had to accommodate that change. This process is schedule control. So here is a recap. First, define activities, then sequence them. Estimate resources and durations. Finally, accounting for all constraints, develop the schedule. Track the process using control schedule.